Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, let's jump right in. Today, we're taking a hard look at the AI landscape in 2026, specifically focusing on ROI, or return on investment. We're going to explore exactly why those generic AI tools you've been using are rapidly losing their edge, and more importantly, how you can pinpoint the specialized tools that will genuinely elevate your professional output. There's a quote from our sources analyzing the copywriting landscape that literally hits the nail on the head. The AI copywriting tool industry is Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini wearing a trench coat. This perfectly illustrates the core problem right now. So many of these paid apps charging you hefty monthly subscriptions, they're just wrappers. They give you templates and the illusion of a specialized workflow, but underneath, they don't actually have a different or smarter intelligence. You're basically just paying for a pretty user interface, not a better brain. To cut through all the noise and hype, our agenda today is straightforward. 1. The end of generic AI. 2. Video and audio workflows. 3. Copywriting and presentations. 4. Development and vibe coding. 5. Intelligent automation and agents. And finally, 6. The human editor problem.
All right, Section 1, the end of generic AI.
Let me ask you a serious question. Are you still using what we'd call obvious AI? Because the recent market data shows that if your entire strategy for 2026 is just typing basic prompts into ChatGPT or firing off image requests in Midjourney, you are actively losing your competitive advantage. Why? Well, because everyone else is already doing that. It's the new baseline. It's definitely not a superpower anymore. This brings us to where the real ROI actually lives right now: vertical tools. These are specialized AI platforms meticulously designed to solve specific, complex workflow problems, and they do it way better than any generalist chatbot ever could. We're talking about autonomous agents that actually step in and do the heavy lifting for your exact specific professional tasks, rather than just spitting out generic paragraphs of text. Moving right along, Section 2, Video and Audio Workflows. Let's ground this in reality for a second. $3,500. According to a recent deep dive test, that's exactly what a human editor was paid just to do the sound design on a single YouTube video. But here's the kicker. Specialized desktop tools like Eddy AI can now handle those exact rough cuts and sound syncs. In one test, Eddy AI processed a massive 75-gigabyte multi-camera podcast, syncing 3 different 4K camera angles and cutting the footage in just 45 minutes. And it did all of this running quietly in the background while the user worked on other things. That is wild. This is exactly the power of vertical media tools. Look at Descript, which completely flips the old paradigm by letting you edit a video simply by deleting text in a transcript. That alone cuts editing time by up to 60%. Then you've got HeyGen, which can take a video and translate it into over 140 languages, keeping the original speaker's voice and perfectly syncing their lip movements. Add in 11 Labs cloning hyper-realistic voices for Fortune 500 companies, and Suno generating full radio-quality songs, like a melancholic rock ballad about Milan nights complete with human-sounding vocals from a text prompt in 30 seconds. That is what specialized AI looks like. Okay, Section 3, Copywriting and Presentations. When it comes to text, the difference in output between tools is absolutely staggering. On one side, you have a specialized wrapper tool using a built-in template that spits out, "Tired of your problem? Our product gives you the benefit." I mean, it sounds like a generic dropshipping ad from 2019, right? But on the flip side, look at the direct output from Claude Opus 4.7 when it's fed a properly structured brief. Most running shoes are designed for runners. Ours are designed for people who hate running. Now that is practitioner-grade nuance. The wrapper tool basically compresses your brief to fit a generic template and kills the brand voice, while the foundational model actually holds that stylistic register perfectly. And when we evaluate the top presentation tools for 2026, the winners are super clear. GPT takes the crown for actual research depth and professional substance, tapping into models like Gemini 3.1 Pro to pull real stats instead of generic fluff. Gamma, on the other hand, is absolutely perfect if you need fast, visually stunning, scrollable web decks that you can share asynchronously. And Plus AI? Well, that's your best bet if your team already lives and breathes inside the Google Workspace ecosystem. Next up, Section 4, Development and Vibe Coding. Have you heard of vibe coding yet? Because it's a massive paradigm shift. Essentially, it's programming via natural language to generate functional code, full web apps, and databases, all without manual typing. This allows you to delegate really complex front-end and back-end tasks directly to autonomous agents, literally just by describing what you want the app to do and how you want it to feel. Here's how these tools actually stack up in a modern workflow. You start with a platform like Lovable to rapidly prototype an entire web app. We're talking front-end, back-end, database, just from a simple natural language description. Once you vibe coded that initial prototype, you export the working code and drop it into an AI-first environment like Cursor or Warp. Cursor is this incredible AI-powered code editor where models like Claude Code refine your backend, while Warp gives you an AI-integrated terminal to execute tasks autonomously. You are basically directing an entire engineering team right from your desk.
Which brings us to Section 5, Intelligent Automation and Agents.
We are completely moving past those clunky, old-school trigger and action workflows, and Lindy AI is the perfect example of this. You just take 3 simple steps. 1, define an AI employee role. 2, provide natural language goals, something like manage incoming support emails and draft replies. And 3, the AI just autonomously determines the steps needed to actually achieve that goal. You aren't building a rigid workflow anymore. You are quite literally managing a digital employee.
Now, if you need to connect these agents across your business, 2 platforms are really standing out right now. Gumloop offers incredible ease of use for non-technical teams with this great visual drag-and-drop interface and a built-in AI copilot. But if you have a technical team, self-hosting NAN is an absolute game changer. Because NAN counts entire workflow executions rather than individual tasks, it can actually end up being 10 to 20 times cheaper than legacy tools like Zapier for heavy execution tasks. That is massive. And we're seeing other vertical agents deliver huge ROI across all sorts of departments. Take Pigment. It's replacing massive Excel models for finance teams and has driven a proven 306% ROI over 3 years just by enabling real-time scenario planning. Then there's Granola. It takes brilliant meeting notes locally on your machine, which means you don't have some awkward, creepy bot joining your video call and ruining the vibe. And Paradigm AI. It literally treats every single cell in a spreadsheet as an independent AI agent that can go out and enrich your data on its own. Finally, Section 6, the human editor problem. Because at the end of the day, the reality is this. AI produces the draft, but you, the human editor, add the unique observation. Editing AI shouldn't just be about fixing robotic phrasing or removing generic AI quirks. Honestly, if you're doing that, your initial prompt was probably too weak anyway. Your real job as a human editor in 2026 is to add specific, counterintuitive angles, industry secrets, and that deep brand knowledge that absolutely no software tool possesses. The AI does the heavy lifting, sure, but you bring the soul. So, knowing that the real advantage isn't just having access to AI, but how you uniquely deploy these specialized tools, I'll leave you with this one provocative question. What painful bottleneck in your workflow are you going to automate today? Seriously, stop trying to adopt 5 different tools all at once. Just pick the one task that drains your time the most, apply the right vertical AI tool we talked about today, and reclaim your time. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you on the next one.